channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm going to share with you a quick London session. So we're going to go through all these pairs right now and just see what's available. And I'm going to give you my thoughts literally as quickly as possible so you can understand like how fast you can start to make decisions based on what you see right now. So Euro NZD is coming off failed reset. We're waiting for either a failed reset or reset to occur. Looks like based on where we are right now, might be looking like a reset. If that's going to happen, then I would probably expect a pullback here. If this candle stays around this area here, the bottom of the range, let's say we get like a railroad track or something like that. That could be a type 4. However, if it pulls all the way back up to the middle of the range, clearly that's probably going to be more of a type 3 setup, as long as the 50 holds price and we get some kind of a tradable pattern. Euro AUD, very similar scenario. We're basically doing the same thing. So same scenario is if we pull back to the bottom here, the range, and we start to immediately reverse, give us, let's say, like a railroad track or something like that, then that would definitely be a type 4. If it continues back up to the middle of the range, again, that would be more of a type 3, as long as if the 50 EMA holds price and we get some type of an actual pattern. Euro JPY still coming off that peak formation low, so I wouldn't be looking for anything on this pair at the moment. Based on where price action is, the only thing that I would trade would be a type 1 pattern if we were to get a second leg to be created. Obviously too early for that. Euro pound. So Euro pound, based on what we're looking for now, again, waiting for either failed reset or reset to occur. If it's going to be a reset, then this is very likely going to lead to a type 3 setup. So what I'd be looking for is essentially a move back up into the middle of the range, a rejection of the 50, and then a pattern to trade. Euro USD coming off peak formation high, so we should be looking for sells. Now, based on the fact that we literally just talked about this type of behavior here, of this being a type 3, this is going to end up being a type 3. The way it looks right now, if this candle were to end like this, it's going to be a type 3 for buys. So it's going against the trend. The reason obviously is because the bigger trend is to go higher. If we look at the daily time frame on this, you'll see clearly that we are in a huge uptrend. This is simply a retracement. Euro Swiss, so coming off peak formation low, so should be looking for buys. If that's going to be the case and we're looking for buys, the only option that would lead me to a buy here would be a type 1 pattern. Again, too early for that. Obviously we need the first leg to be created first. That hasn't happened yet. This very likely could be a first leg forming, but again, hasn't happened yet, so it's more of a waiting game on this one. Euro CAD coming off peak formation high, so we should be looking for sells. If that's the case, then this is probably going to be more likely a type 3 pattern. Depends on when this actually loads. Yeah, so you can see here, based on where price action is, the only thing that I would trade here, if available and if it were to actually happen, would be a type 3. What I would need though is I would need the 50 to hold price, number one. Number two is I would need some type of a pattern to develop here. If no pattern develops, to me there's no actual trade unless we get some type of a setup where we're closing below the 13 EMA. But for right now, the only thing I would be looking at for this, based on where price action is a type 3. Pound NZD coming off peak formation high, so the only thing that we'd be looking for is sells, obviously. Now we do have enough for a full cycle, so you have to take that into consideration as well. We do have evidence of a peak formation low forming as it's just starting to consolidate. So the real question is essentially, is this basically the start of a peak formation low? Or is it just a bigger move? If it's continuing basically to sell off, then this is the only option to trade right now, would be a type 3. If this were to be, let's say, creating a peak formation low, then this would actually be like a multi-session. This would be more like a type 2 trade out of the edge, where the first leg is here and the second leg is right outside of the Asian box into the London. But again, based on how this is right now, I'd probably be looking for sells first. more than anything. So I'd be looking for price to come up to the 50 in the middle of the range, hold, and be held by the 50 as a form of resistance, and then look for pattern to sell. Similar scenario in pound AUD. The only difference is honestly would be this is more like a type 4 right now. If price is held by the bottom of the range, then I'd be looking at this more as a type 4. If it continues back up into the middle of the range, then it'd be a type 3. Pound JPY coming off peak formation low, still consolidating, still not doing much of anything. As of right now, it looks like a type 2 trade out of the edge, where the first leg is here and this would be the second leg, but you don't have a second leg pattern right now, so you'd need to basically close above the 13 EMA and then get a pullback if that's what you're going to trade. This consolidation, I honestly don't trade until I get a clear directional bias. Pound USD. So obviously coming off peak formation high. If this is going to be a sell, let's say, the only option that I would, based on where price action is right now, as long as price stays, let's say below 133, 250 or so, would be a type 2. If it goes higher than that, then obviously it would be a type 1. Pound Swiss looking coming off peak formation low, so looking for buys. Based on where this is right now, basically it would be a type 3. I would expect this to end up being a star pattern once it ends this candle here, and then see if there's a pullback, and then you'd have a type 3 buy. Pound CAD coming off a brand new peak formation high, so should be looking for sells. The 50 here is acting as a form of resistance, so as long as that stays intact, this could be potentially a second leg of a type 2 forming. The first leg would be here, this would be the second leg. Again, you'd have to wait to make sure that the 50 EMA does hold price, and then essentially you would go from there. USD JPY coming off a brand new peak formation low, so we should be technically looking for buys. If that's the case, then this might be a type 2 trade out of the edge right now. Again, you'd be waiting for this candle to close first to see whether or not this actually does form, let's say, a star pattern, and then you possibly get a pullback from there and then go from there. USD CAD, there's nothing to trade here on this one. USD Swiss, probably the same thing. If it's coming off a brand new peak formation low, then obviously be looking for buys. The only buy option that I would see right now would be a multi-session type, call it a type 2. I keep saying multi-session, I don't know why, but a type 2 trade out of the edge. First leg is here. This potentially could be the second leg. Again, you're waiting for more confirmation, still too early. If this were to be a full candle, a full blue candle, could be a star pattern, that could be the second leg. USD peso coming off peak formation high, so technically still looking for sells. If that's the case, I believe this is the only option you'd have right now for sells, would be a retracement back up to the bottom of the range for a type 4. Silver still coming off that peak formation low, so technically still looking for buys. As of right now, this would have been a type 3 obviously, but it's too late to get into any trades on this one here, so I'll just skip that one. Gold coming off peak formation high should be looking for sells, but we know ultimately at the end of the day it's going to keep going higher. We know that obviously, so the question is, I would actually not look for sells on this. I would actually just look at it from a higher time frame perspective and actually look for buys on this, and I would look at it more again as investment of just very simple things of buying the dip. Honestly, it's just as simple as that. I know it sounds kind of cliche or you know, whatever, but I mean, it's the truth. I mean, if you're in an uptrend, right, why would you buy at the top? Just wait till it dips. This is a good 6-7% dip. Last time I had a 6-7% dip, it did this and then did that. So it dipped 6%, went up 15. So I mean, what are we talking about? You know? So I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like, you know, people make this shit harder than what it is. But yeah, I would, on gold specifically, we know it's an asset that people are going to go to. I would be looking for buys. I would be buying the dip. US 30. If this continues, honestly, this could be very well be enough to where we talked about last time, where look, it rejected right off 618. This could be going higher, and if that's the case, then obviously this would turn into a reset. If I am looking for something right now based on how price action is, probably very likely to be a type 3 buy. NAS 100, same scenario. This one here though, I wouldn't be looking for anything honestly, because it's just not a setup that I'd be looking to get into. There's nothing here for me to trade. Oil, I'd be looking for buys on oil too. The only way that I get into a buy on oil would be a retracement down to the top of the range for a type 4, or even back down to the middle of the range for a type 3, and then look for buys. Peak formation low, looking for buys. The only thing that I would probably see here is a type 3, but honestly this is already like, it's kind of like floating. You know, the middle of the range is up here, not down here. I understand that it's down here because of the 50 EMA, but in order for this to be a type 3 buy, I would really need to make this blue candle just as big as the red one, so we get a star pattern, and then we can look for buys. NZD USD still coming off peak formation low. We still don't have a peak formation high, even though we do have enough for a full cycle. So if I'm still looking for buys, the only option I would have here for a buy would be a type 3. So I'd expect price action to come down to the 50, possibly to the middle of the range. I don't know if it'll make it that far, to be honest. I think it'll just go down to the 50, and then you'd be looking for buys. It would be an ugly type 3, because the type 3s that you would want would be down in the middle of the range, but because of the 50s right there, that might act as a form of support. NZD Swiss, same thing, looking for buys. Right now, the only option I would be looking for would be a type 3. So I'd be looking for a pattern here. Obviously, the 50 is a little bit lower. That's fine. It's right at the middle of the range. That's good. But we don't have a pattern to trade yet, so that's what I'd be looking for. NZD CAD, I would be looking obviously for buys still. We don't have enough for a peak formation high. I told you we need to be trading below 82,000. Still not there yet. So you just have to be careful, obviously. But based on where price action is right now, I think very likely, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going to be a type 3 maybe. Wait for these boxes to show up whenever they want to. But yeah, as you can see. So the only option for me to buy here, this is going to continue to go higher, is a type 3. I would want obviously price action not to go any lower than the middle of the range. Give us, like, let's just say a railroad track or something of that nature, and then reverse and buy. But again, none of these things are confirmed. You're just waiting, but these are the ideas that I'm thinking about if I'm looking at these pairs. AUD NZD has got enough for a peak formation low to form, so probably wouldn't trade this pair just because I'd be waiting for that. AJ looking for buys coming off peak formation low. Type 3 clearly is the only thing that I'd be looking at. So this is good right now where it's at, but we need this candle to be pretty big and then a massive pullback for that even to be possible. AUDUSD looking for buys. If that's the case, ideally type 4 or type 3, one of the two. It depends on where price action decides to stop and then reverse. So if it stops and reverse at the top of the range, it's type 4. If it comes a little bit lower to the 50, that would probably be a type 3. AUD Swiss coming off peak formation low, same thing. So if I'm looking for buys, obviously I'm looking for price to come down a little bit lower for a type 3. It's the only option that I would have right now for a buy setup. But again, you're waiting for price action to do what it needs to do first, right? This is the ideas that come immediately from just looking at where price action is. That's all you're doing, is looking at price action and be like, all right, if I'm coming off peak formation low and I'm looking for buys, what are the best options for buy? The only option for me for a buy right now would be a type 3, but I would need the price to come down more to the middle of the range, then do a reverse. AUD CAD coming off peak formation low, and same thing, if I'm looking for buys, I need this, like what it's doing right now. It's retracing, which is great. If it retraces only to the top of the range, that's a type 4, and if it retraces further to the 50 or where to the middle of the ranges, that would be a type 3. Again, you're just waiting on price action to do what it's going to do. Let price action show you whether it's going to be a type 4, type 3, whatever the case may be. Okay, but the ideas should automatically come to your mind. Okay. Dollar index, we're coming off a brand new peak formation low, right? So we should see dollar strength right now temporarily. On the bigger picture, we're still on a huge downtrend on this. Clearly, right? We're in a huge downtrend on this. So this is a retracement of the downtrend, right? Whether this retracement leads to, let's say, a full cycle or reset, I don't care. right? But I know that bigger picture is very likely to just continue going down because we're out in the middle of nowhere here, right? We don't have any kind of price action at all. We've broken all previous structures before, so this is definitely a downtrend, right? And this is just a retracement of the downtrend. The question is whether or not the retracement is going to just be a reset of a retracement where it comes up just a little bit and then continues down, or is it going to give us a full cycle? Again, we don't care which one it does, right? We know that the bigger picture is still going down, right? But there's nothing to trade here on this particular pair. So I just literally went through 20 something pairs in 15 minutes. Okay. Now this is literally just how fast I can do this, right? In about 15 minutes, just to get some ideas out about what potential setups you have, right? Now I went through all the potential setups for all the pairs, even though a lot of the pairs are just not pairs that I would trade anyways, right? Just because of where they are. You know what I mean? So I would never trade pairs that are like fail to reset, resets, and I'm waiting for something to happen first. Never trade these, right? I would never trade these, but at least I can look at them and I can get some ideas based on what price action is doing. And that's the point, right? So the ones that I would trade are the ones that have clear directional bias that are just coming off, like let's say peak formation lows would be the ones, or peak formation highs. Those are the ones that I'd be paying attention to, right? And then from there, I'm literally just waiting to see whether or not what I thought was going to happen happens. If it doesn't happen, there's no trade. If it happens, there's a trade. It's literally just that simple. I keep the trading that simple. You should keep the trading that simple as well. All right. Hope this video helped, and we'll see you in the next one.